This is Indie Business Podcast, Season 1, Bonus, Episode 13. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Indie Business Podcast. I am your host, mentor, and coach, Donna Maria, the founder and CEO at IndieBusinessNetwork.com. My goal is to help makers and handmade entrepreneurs build a solid business foundation, increase your income, and use your business to create the life you love. On this episode, I will introduce you to author and entrepreneur Kayla Fioravanti. For those of you who have known me and known of the Indie Business Network for a while, you know that Kayla is a longtime personal and very special friend of mine. She and her husband are the co-founders of Essential Wholesale, one of IBN's very first members. They sold the company back in 2011, and today they live on a 12-acre farm with their daughters, and they are making all of their dreams come true. One of Kayla's dreams has always been to have the time to write and publish books, and that dream has come true many times over during the past few years. In this episode, Kayla shares a step-by-step overview of how to take your idea and turn it into a book that's ready to publish on Amazon. If you have a book in you, and who doesn't, then this episode will not only inspire you, but it will tell you exactly what to do to make your book available to everyone in the world. I love the sound of that, don't you? You can get a summary and resource links for this episode at indiebusinessnetwork.com/13. I'll be right back with Kayla Fioravanti. Kayla Fioravanti in Nashville, Tennessee. How are you today?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I am so excited to get a chance to talk to you. So tell me a little bit about where you are right now. I know you write all the time, and we see pictures of cats and chickens and all kinds of stuff. So where are you joining us from today?
I am on my 12 acres in Franklin, Tennessee, and yeah, I have chickens in the backyard, and we just had fresh eggs, and we just bought a herd of buffalo as well. So they won't be on our property, though. They're going to be elsewhere.
I know, and we can order
have changed life significantly.
You have, and we'll be able to actually order some buffalo, right?
Yes, you will.
I'm really excited about that farm life, and we might have to interview about that someday. But today, we are here to talk to you about how to create a book to sell on Amazon. And everyone who's listening, I just want you to know you're in for a really big treat, because not only will you be inspired by Kayla, but we're going to have like a little 1, 2, 3 walkthrough here of what she has done to create several books, not just 1 or 2, let's just write a book and put it on Amazon. She has really made this into a new career for herself. So Kayla, let's back up a bit before we get into that. I want to ask you to share with our listeners a little bit about your former life before you became a published author, what you did and what brought you to this point.
Well, in 2011, Dennis and I sold Essential Wholesale. And as we were selling Essential Wholesale, I wrote 3 industry books. And the door had just opened for learning about self-publishing right before this all came about. And so it was just perfect timing to take the information I had been given and run with it. And so we sold our company after building it. We started our Essential Wholesale in our kitchen in 1998 and sold it in 2011. So the books that I published in the time frame, I wrote 3 industry books: The Art, Science, and Business of Aromatherapy, How to Make Melt and Pour Soap from Scratch, which continues to be my bestseller still, and DIY Kitchen Chemistry.
Okay, and for those who don't know, Essential Wholesale was actually one of the very first Indie Business Network members, and so we've had a front row seat to this transformation. So you sold the business, and which was the first book?
The first book was How to Make Melt and Pour Soap from Scratch. That's the first one I wrote and published.
Okay.
Because I had figured out how to make that base from scratch, and right. I knew, Essential Wholesale didn't want to make it, and what else could we do with it but release that those recipes out to the public.
Okay, Kayla, so you sold the business and then you decided you wanted to write a book, or did you decide you wanted to write a book to sell on Amazon? What's the story there on that?
Well, I had been wanting to write a book, and actually Debbie Richards reminds me that one time she asked me while I was speaking why I've never written a book, and I said, well, no one's ever set a deadline for me, and she that stuck with her. And so then I ended up learning how to self-publish, and I was like, well, I could just set my own deadline and create my own book. So it all just happened to be at the same timing. If had we not sold, I would have continued writing industry books and done the publishing as well throughout. It just happened to be all at the same time.
Now, there's lots of different ways that you can self-publish these days. Everything from a PDF download on your website to, getting a book publishing company to help you self-publish, to what you did, which is choosing Amazon. Tell us a little bit about why you made that particular choice and why you chose that over other options.
Well, it came down to, it was just financially the best option when you looked at all the different choices. And Amazon owns a company called CreateSpace, and that is the platform that you use for publishing and doing everything you have to do to work within your book. And I learned about that the first time I heard about self-publishing, and the person who taught me was like, go out and learn everything else, and and most likely you'll come back and do CreateSpace. And I did. I went and researched all the other options of, hiring somebody to do it all for me, doing it through a second vendor or something like that. And it just made the most sense financially to do it through CreateSpace because of the lack of cost up front, the fact that the profits are mostly mine, and that I own the rights of my books. And I can make any changes. You just have so much control with CreateSpace that's why I chose to go that way.
So let's start with how much a person can expect to spend to self-publish a book for Amazon. Is there like a floor amount that you'll spend, or does it depend on the number of pages?
Yeah. It doesn't depend on pages. That your costs are different things like getting yourself a publisher logo, a website if you don't have it, editing costs depending on whether you go with crowdsourced, which is what I do. If you hire an amateur editor, if you hire somebody through CreateSpace, or several other levels of editing that you can choose, that can be part of your cost. You got your ISBN cost, which they're basically $10 each. And then you've got your cover design cost, layout, which I always do my own because I like the control of it, so I have no cost there, but others can, and it can be like $249 if you decide to have somebody else. Proofing cost, which means you basically get all your book loaded up, and then you have Amazon send you a copy of it to look over beforehand. And I always recommend doing that, and I'm always in a rush, so I end up spending a little extra because of the rush delivery. You got your copyright costs. That's if you decide to register it, but it's automatic. And then Kindle publishing, which can be free or can be $69. So for an example of my book, How to Self-Publish, I gave exactly how much it cost me to publish that book. So with all those little costs here and there, my total cost was $327.75.
Okay, I paused for a second because I was like, "Wow, that is a very low cost for something that can make money for you for the next 50 years." I like that. So, and by the way, I'm glad you mentioned that you actually have a book about this. So we're going to tell everybody where they can go to buy that, because we can only give an overview here. But so that's great. So you're talking $350. For a book that you can sell for what, 10 or 15 bucks in a hard copy form, and then less on a Kindle?
Yeah. Well, you always do paperback with Amazon, and normally you want your price of your book to be $10 or less if you're a new author, because who's going to spend more on? Yeah, so your price should be $9.99 or below.
Okay.
And then, you just keep making money over, you leave it on. Nobody's going to take it off because it's, out of print. It's always, it's print on demand.
Right.
So it's always available for your whole life and beyond you.
So it's like you just keep making money over and over and over again. We like that. We like that. We like that. You're adding value to the world and helping other people with something they want to know and also getting paid for it. So that's great. So let me ask, that book came out, the one that you're using as the example, how long did it take you? And I know it's going to vary by person and by book, but just by way of example, how long did it take you to make that $350 back?
I made it in the first month.
Okay. All right. We're pretty much sold on this idea. So
yeah.
Yes.
The first month it had paid for pretty much all of my books because I always do low cost. All of my books except for my current one, which had a little bit higher cost because it was an anthology. So I had legal fees and some other things that were, not part of a normal fees.
Right.
All of my other books paid for themselves within their first month.
And how many are there altogether that you've published using this format?
6 books.
6 books. And this has all been in the last 2 years?
Yeah. Right. I published 3 in 2011 and then 1 per year since then.
Okay. So awesome.
So I am currently working on 2015's book.
Okay, so let's walk through the steps then. Okay, we're listening to Kayla Fioravanti on the Indie Business Podcast, and we have a book idea. What do we do next?
Okay, well, you basically let's come up with some kind of example. Say like you're going to do like my DIY kitchen chemistry book.
Excellent.
Which has recipes and information and things like that. So most likely you already have written all your recipes. There's a good chance these are all things you've already experimented with. You're going to want to do one more round of doing that just to make sure that your recipes are exact. So take all your recipes, try them again in like for me, because I had done all of my products in a lab setting, I needed to take them home and do them in a home setting with the kind of tools that people would normally have at home instead of, a high-tech lab. So that's what my first step was double checking every recipe because you don't want anybody's stuff to flop, when it's out there. And then basically, with my book, I added information about each ingredient. So I double checked all my facts, made sure I had all my resources for the back of the book to give credit to the correct people, basically, and then you kind of fill in, basically what I do is I build myself a skeleton of the book itself. So in the front of a book, if you look at a book, you've got the cover, and then inside the book you have a title page, and then inside of there you have all this copyright information and things like that. I start filling that in as a skeleton, and I highlight everything that I don't have yet. Like I haven't gotten the ISBN yet, so I highlight it. And I just kind of keep going, and then I get to the table of contents. Then I lay out what I think is going to be the best idea for how to lay out this book. So I'm going to start out with information about who I am and why you would want to read a book about, these products that I'm telling you about, and then start giving you, how-tos and all the different steps that you would need to know before someone starts doing the recipe. And then you would start giving the recipes, and then, just kind of further information. But you would write that out in a table of contents. Now, don't stick to that like it's, the law. If you start working on it, you might realize you need to shift things around. I think every single one of my books, the table of contents has moved around as I've gone through the process. And so you just start writing and you kind of fill in the blanks around what you already have, which most people who are going to write a book like that already have it. If you're starting something totally from scratch, you're building yourself a skeleton. And then you can put a little, like sometimes what I'll do is, like my current book that I'm working on right now, it's called Puffy and Blue, and it's about my childhood cat and I, and our life that we had for 21 years together. And so my skeleton table of contents is the countries we lived in together. And then I use that as my, those are my chapters. And I move through there and I fill in what's missing in those spaces. I might already have some of the old stories, and I mix them all together, or I start from scratch. And then you just kind of keep writing, including putting things like the dedication and the acknowledgments, all the things you don't want to forget to do. And once you've got that, that would be called your zero draft. Once you've filled that in and you've just taken everything that's in your head and thrown it out on the page, that's your zero draft. And your zero draft is for nobody else. You take your zero draft, you sit down with it, and you go over it. I always print mine because I like to look at it. I'm like old-fashioned, like to have the pen and paper, but a lot of people will just do it on the computer. But and you just go over it in great detail, looking for things you're missing, giving yourself notes, fixing things you see, and then you have your first draft. And now that you have your first draft, you do not run to go get an editor. Because it's still too sloppy, no matter how great of a writer you are.
Okay.
That's where you say, hey, my friends in the industry, everybody who, or anybody who's willing to read through and give me feedback, critique, editing, any of that kind of thing, who will read this? Mm-hmm. And people will volunteer.
Okay.
And I know several people who have done this as well. This is what I do as well. And then they help you, and you keep cleaning it up through their feedback. And in the book, I teach you exactly how to merge all those documents into one document, so you can look at it as one document, reading everybody's feedback. Mm-hmm. And then you have a draft that you could go to an editor with. Once you don't want to show up to the editor with something that hasn't been cleaned up at all. It'll just cost you more.
Right.
So. And you never know, you may end up with people who are professional editors who helped you out or who are willing to help you out. And so editing costs can vary significantly, but that's kind of where you start. Before you ever get to the editor, you do a whole lot of work beforehand. Mm-hmm. And then you show up to them.
So once the editing's done and you have a final manuscript, mm-hmm. and then you give yourself a party first, and then because you've done a lot of work, and it takes a lot to get just to there, but you're still not done. What happens next?
Right. Okay, so then you choose what you're going to do about editing, whether that's somebody else doing it or you doing it with a group. My own abilities from my own past training, I'm able to work as a managing editor for myself, so I end up never hiring an editor. Mm-hmm. But for some people, hiring an editor is going to be the right choice.
Right.
So they're going to go through and you're going to still read it 50 million times. And when you're absolutely sick of every word that's ever written in there, you are close to done.
Okay.
Okay. And then at the same time that you're doing that, you should be working on your cover, or having a graphic designer or somebody like that be working on the image of your cover and your title, and keeping your title nice and short, which I didn't know in my first few books, so they're really long and they cause issues all the time. So come up with really short little titles and subtitles, and you're kind of doing two tasks at once. You're working on the cover as well. And once you've got you're all done editing and you've got a cover image, then you either choose to do the layout yourself, which Amazon CreateSpace has a little cheat sheet, sort of a document that's already been made, and you can just plug your pieces into it. If your book's short, it'll work just fine. If your book's big, then it'll cause problems. But there's also a ton of information in my book and on CreateSpace on all that formatting details, and there's a lot of little tedious details of formatting, and I spelled them all out because I learned a ton from my first 3 books on what not to do and how to do things better and smarter and more polished looking. So you basically get into those sorts of details in the layout, or somebody else does it. CreateSpace will do it for you for like $249. You can hire people who do it all day long. And then after that, you would load your cover and your interior into Amazon, order a sample to be sent to you, your proof. I have yet to not have to do another one. Every time you get it, once you're physically seeing it, you find little tiny things. And then you basically repeat that process until you're happy. And then once you hit publish, in 24 hours, you are a published author, because CreateSpace will do the rest. It will show up on Amazon within 24 hours of you hitting publish.
And will it give you an author page, or do you have to set that up yourself?
You set up your own author page on Amazon. It's super easy. It's, kind of just like any other social media sort of thing, where they just tell you what to plug in the information. You would create an author page on Goodreads as well. And any place else, anybody will let you do an author page.
Okay.
And they'll give you a specific link. I mean, you'll find the book and there's a specific link. And actually, as soon as you're done with the interior of the book, you're able to start working on the Kindle version.
Okay.
So I normally try and have them come out at the same time. And that's just a whole bunch of formatting of taking the same exact book and formatting it slightly differently. And you can also hire Kindle will do it for you as well. They'll take what you came from with CreateSpace, and convert it for you as well.
And that's obviously
which
just
is like
to make sure.
$69.
Right, and that's a great price. And that's obviously just to make sure that it shows up properly on all the different mobile devices.
Right, because it's weird. There's some changes in paragraph indenting, because like on your actual physical book, the paragraphs never indent at the top of a page. So when you move to the Kindle, you have to put those indents back in. So just little tedious things.
Okay, but
it's so worth it, because with Kindle, Kindle sells all day long, because your price can be even lower because there's no actual physical cost.
Right.
And people will buy Kindle without much thought.
And for the hard copy book, Kayla, it's literally publishing on demand. So let's say your book costs $9.99, and I go and I order it, and I wait, I don't know, 1 or 2 days, depending on what kind of Amazon service I have, and I get that physical book in the mail.
Right.
And you
from Amazon, it never left from me.
Right. So they do all the fulfillment and everything, and you never have to pay for anything except for the commission that Amazon gets for selling and bring the book.
Right, which that is set up front in your process of working on your book in CreateSpace. You will be able to see exactly how much money you'll make when your book sells on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, in Europe, in Japan. You're able to see and set every single factor in there. So there's no surprise of what your profit is on every book, depending on what sells. The surprise is, wow, it's sold in Sweden. Awesome. So, but other than that, because you don't know where it went, but at the end of, basically it takes 60 days for you to get your first check, because, there's kind of the arrears thing. All of a sudden they deposit it in your account.
One day you wake up
and you get a
and
separate check for every.
One day you wake up and wow, more money.
And there's money in your account. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I get a separate one for every book. So it's kind of cool. I get 6 deposits from Amazon, and then I get 6 deposits from Kindle every month. So I get 12 little paychecks. It's
and these are all automatically deposited, and they're good for bookkeeping and accounting too, right? Because you can trace exactly how your accountant can know exactly where the income's coming from based on the book.
Exactly, and you're able to download from CreateSpace. You're able to download exactly what happened with your books, where they sold. If you want to do every little detail, all of it's in there for you for 18 months. So there's always 18 months backwards worth of information up there.
Right, and it takes,
it's like having your own bookkeeper.
And even though it takes 60 or so days to get the first check, once the first one comes in, they come in every month that you make a sale.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
And Amazon, you're on Amazon, so when you have a physical book, you're pretty likely that something's going to sell every month.
Right.
I mean, I know some of my books, sometimes I'll completely forget to do any social media for like a whole month. And I can tell when I get my checks because they're a little bit less. And then it'll remind me, oh, I better do it. And then they'll go right back up. But, they still are selling whether I'm doing anything or not. They're just selling better when I work at it.
Good point. Good point. And with the way we can automate social media, not all of it, but a lot of it these days, it's really just a matter of creating a social media system that promotes the books.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so this is great. So we can, if you know how to do something, you have an idea you want to share, you can follow the format that Kayla has shared here. And not only will you be producing income for yourself, Kayla, tell us a little bit about what it does in terms of your personal brand and how it can help you not only as an author, but also to sell whatever products and services you already offer now.
Right. One, it gives you opportunities to speak at different events because it gave you credibility as an expert in the field. And so that gives you an opportunity to speak, which gives you an opportunity to sell more books and to sell more of whatever it is you make.
Right.
And then also in your book, you're able to promote what you make because you're the queen of bees, and now people are going to come buy honey from you as well. And then you can also, like you've made it, if you're the queen of bees and you have this great book about bees and you sell honey, you can also do on-demand printing of T-shirts and other little things that go along with your brand, and that's all on demand as well. There's companies like Spreadshirts and a couple others. I only know Spreadshirts, how it works, where you just put your product up there, you put your logo up there, and you add that to your shopping, to things that people can buy from you. So you have all kinds of avenues that kind of open up for being able to brand yourself and from your information.
Kayla, what are some of your ideas for where to go to find two things? Number one, someone to design the cover and the inside of the book. And number two, someone to do the editing. Where can we go to find those people? Are there communities where we can put out bids, or what do you suggest?
There are a lot of different options. There is on CreateSpace, they'll give you a bid for everything that you need done. And then there are LinkedIn communities galore on publishing. I mean, just tons of them. If you go on LinkedIn and start putting in whatever search word you're looking for, you can find people who do covers all day long. I use Eco Office Gals. She does kind of all my support staff of everything. You can just ask on social media. I learned so much. Sometimes if I don't know something, I put it on Facebook, and I'm like, what do you know about this? And people give me all kinds of references, because I personally like to use somebody who somebody recommended, like, where there's some personal connection to the person, where there's been some experience in working with them. But there's Kirkus is the name of a company, and they have all the kinds of editing. They have people who do layout, a little bit of everything, and they'll bid at different prices based on what you have going on, what you're looking for. And you can also look at, like, if somebody in your industry published a book a lot like yours, see who their editor was, see who they credited, because everyone credits it in the front of the book.
Can you spell Kirkus?
So you can see. It's Kirkus.
Okay, great. And we can maybe find some people there. Okay. All right, good. And you shared your own designer, so that was helpful too. We'll make sure we put that in the show notes. Well, this was really, really great, Kayla. So there's really no reason why, if you know how to do something, you can't set aside some time to do this. And coming back full circle, Kayla, to the beginning of our conversation, you said that in answer to, I think you said, Debbie Richards' question, about why you hadn't written a book, your response was because no one has ever set a deadline. So in closing, let's talk about the importance of setting a deadline, because how many would-be authors do we know?
Oh, so many. I know so many. I hear about it, especially since I have a book on self-publishing. But I hear about it all the time. And if you don't have a deadline, you'll never do it. There's always something else that has to get done, some other task, some other thing. So you absolutely have to have a deadline that, I mean, you might end up missing it, but shooting for it makes a huge difference. And you should give yourself between 3 months to 1 year to do a book. So it depends on your, you know your schedule, you know how disciplined you are. I am one of those people, I set myself 3-month deadlines because if it's too far out, I'll never get it done. And if it's somewhat immediate, which to me 3 months is pretty immediate when I'm thinking about the task of publishing a book. So I set myself a 3-month deadline, and then in those I want to be done writing the book in, say if you're doing a 3-month, I want to be done writing it in 1 month. I want to be done editing it in month 2. I want to be working on all the various processes and the support things and the layout and all that in month 3. So if you were doing it in 1 year, then you would set yourself your deadlines, kind of accordingly, depending on what works best for you. But I could never set myself a 1-year deadline. I'd never get anything done.
And with Amazon too, can you write a book just for Kindle? In other words, if you have a great idea for a book, but it's really not, it's only 20 pages or so, and shipping that, I don't know, maybe it's worth it, maybe it's not. But can you write mini books and perhaps publish more mini books and just maybe charge 99 cents for them or something?
You can do that, but when you kind of in the whole how Amazon works, I think what I see is that people who have both a hardcover and a Kindle have more opportunities to promote them and to promote them differently through Kindle, because there's some free options for authors who are exclusives on. And so you end up with more book sales when you have both. I know somebody who just did Kindle and a great book, but it's not doing that great. And I know people who did Kindle and paperback and great book as well and doing great.
Okay, good. Well, that's a good tip.
So there is benefit doing them, and Amazon's got a really minimum page count. I can't remember what it is, but I think it's under 30 pages. It's small.
Yeah,
so
and I guess if you
print a book,
if you're going to write something that's 99 cents, you kind of might as well, I guess, just sell it off your website and not have to. Go ahead.
Do all the formatting.
Well, the formatting, and plus, you're
99.
working with a fulfillment house that wants to make a profit too. So, your margins just get slimmer if if the price goes down too low So I was just kind of thinking about how people who think about, oh my gosh, a whole year. Well, I don't know if I can write that. Maybe I could just try something small to get started. Right. And I guess you can, because at least you will have accomplished something, and you can always grow from there. I would think that certainly doing a little mini book one time is better than not doing any book at all ever.
That's right. And I would recommend a first-time author not to be over 100 pages on their first book.
Okay,
so,
good tip.
A 100-page book is a good first-time author book. Most of my books stay within I have 2 books that are significantly bigger, but they've forced me into a much higher price point. And the books, my small books, sell great. And people are willing to pick up a small book and read it, even if they're not a reader. They're kind of like, oh, I could read this. This looks doable.
Right.
But and it's the best place to start. 100 pages or less. My Melt and Pour soap book is 104 pages, and I think DIY is like 120 or something. So 100 to 150 is a good starter book size. And keeping them in that size and not getting into the 200-300 page books is significantly better. If you have so much information in your head that you could fill up a 300 or 400 page book, then my recommendation from what I've learned in doing all this is write 2 or 3 books out of that information.
Right.
Don't do it all in one book.
Okay.
Don't get yourself above $10 in your price point.
Good tips. This is awesome. So this is so great. Now, Kayla, number one, I know you have lots of books. I want to make sure we tell everybody about them, especially the ones, I mean, this is the holiday season. You may not be listening to this at the holiday season, but we're recording it 3 weeks before Christmas. So it's a good time. We're going to release it in a few days. So it's a good time to, stock up on your holiday books. So tell us what your books are, and make sure you include this one about how to write a book, because this could be a great 2015 project for everyone listening, right?
Most definitely. Very doable in 2015. So the 3 books from my industry are The Art, Science, and Business of Aromatherapy, How to Make Mountain Pour Soap from Scratch, and DIY Kitchen Chemistry. So they're all just, the aromatherapy book is a big book, but the other ones are 2 small books. And then in 2012, I published a poetry book called When I Was Young, I Flew the Sun Like a Kite. And just because that was always my dream, and I just needed to get it out of the way. So I fulfilled my dream and gave myself quite a bit of joy for getting that done. And now I can move on to other books that are less, literary, but more about helping people out. So then after that, I wrote How to Self-Publish, the Authorpreneur's Guide to Publishing. And that gives you all the steps of setting up the platform, every single detail of the book. I know several people who have used it. I have a shelf full of books that are people who have published through using the book. And it's really neat. A lot of them say they read it like 20 times and they got it open while they're working. So, and it's very easy and very doable. And then my latest book is 360 Degrees of Grief, Reflections of Hope. And it is an anthology of 64 authors telling 104 stories about walking through grief, and a variety of different experiences of grief from different causes, but all of them kind of reflecting that there's hope and you're not alone in going through grief.
Awesome.
So that's it for right now. I've got one I'm working on.
Well, you're so talented and you're diverse. It's not just one area that you write in. So your passion really shines through for a variety of different areas. You're a well-rounded author, not just someone who writes about one thing. Not that there's anything wrong with writing about one thing, but it is interesting to see that you've written in all these different genres, and I'm sure there are more to come because I know you. So that would be super. Kayla Fioravanti, yes. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. And you can go to Amazon.com and type in Kayla's name, KaylaFioravanti, Kayla Fioravanti, and check out her author page, and all her books will be there. Her blog and website is also KaylaFioravanti.com, and that's also her Twitter name. So you can find her in all these places, and Goodreads as well. So we're going to be looking forward to getting all these books. What great gifts they will make, Kayla. And also this information is priceless for anyone who is listening. We all have a story to tell. So what better way to tell it? And how great is it that we live in a time when it's never been easier to tell your story?
Right.
All righty then. Well,
Thank
Kayla,
you so much for having me.
You're welcome. And this is actually a bonus episode for season 1. So we are wrapping it up for 2014. Season 1 is now officially over. We will see you next year. And Kayla, thanks so much for helping to send us out of season 1 with a real big bang.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone. Happy holidays. Well, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Kayla Fioravanti. Are you ready to publish your book? If so, I want to hear all about it. So feel free to share your success in the comments if you're enjoying this episode at indiebusinessnetwork.com /13. And if you enjoyed this episode, won't you send us some love? Just go to indiebusinessnetwork.com /love, and you can let your friends know on Twitter with one click that you have enjoyed our podcast, that it enhances your life and adds some value and just something that you really want your friends to find out about. And we really appreciate that too, because we want to spread the word about how handmade entrepreneurs and indies in America are making a difference. And this is one of the ways that we do that. So we really appreciate it if you could help us tell more people about it. And if there's anything we can do to improve too, we want to hear that. There's a contact link on our website so you can share whatever you'd like to see and we can serve you better. That's at indiebusinessnetwork.com. Well, thanks for listening. I'll see you next time on Indie Business Podcast. In the meantime, break all the rules, build your own corporate ladder, and create the life you love.